Well, since tonight is Christmas Eve, and I just figured I'd share this review. Since since I've seen it on Netflix the other night, I thought to myself, this, as much as I enjoyed this movie, it has some flaws. So I'm gonna get right to them. So there's gonna be some spoilers in here if you have not seen Hook by now. If you have not seen it, I suggest you turn this video off, watch it, get on Netflix, watch it, and then come back in and watch the video. Now, here we go. Now, I was gonna say, for a while, I'm gonna go back to my childhood when I was younger. I actually rooted for the lead character, Peter Banning, all the way through the entire movie. Even in the first half of the movie, when he was just you know, um, a warrior who was just focused on his work. He's not family oriented, and he's just a douchebag who can't keep his promise to his kids. And like when he just wanted to focus on his work and just be away from everybody. He didn't even want to go to London to visit Wendy, who is much older now, and he just wanted to be away from everybody and just get this big huge deal at his job done. And I mean, even back then, I'm like, yeah, I mean, leave him alone. He just wants to do his job. But now I'm older. I'm like, yeah, you're a dick. You're a real dick, man. And man, oh man, and man, you can see the pain in Wendy's eyes, when he's yelling at his kids to leave the room, and he's on the phone, and you just see the look of guilt on her face, like when she hears that, and like in the hallway. And like that's part of, I mean, like, she feels responsible because she supported his decision not to go back to Neverland. And she helped him, be raised by a family. And I guess they turn out not to be such a warm-hearted family. I guess, I mean, for him to be like that, after he decided to, you know, cut Neverland out of his life to the point where he doesn't even remember it anymore. And yeah, I mean, like that, you can feel the weight on her shoulders, and the pain, and you see the pain in her eyes when she hears him yelling and she's in the hallway. And no, and um, I'm gonna say that this movie should not be called Hook. I mean, because Hook does not play that big of a role in this movie, other than he's the villain, of the movie, and then he takes, Peter Pan's children, and he must be stopped and whatnot, and whatever. I mean, that's it. You're putting his name in the title of the movie as if we're gonna see how he became Captain Hook, or it's gonna be just Captain Hook all the way through, or whatever. But it should be called Pan. This movie should be called Pan because the movie is centered around him the entire time. Even when he's Peter Banning, and we're seeing the first half of the movie, and you feel like you're not even watching the Peter Pan movie. Like when you're so you see him at work and trying to, and he's on, and he's missing his son's baseball game. You feel like you're watching a totally different movie, right? No, when you think about it, this is like Peter Pan's like Scrooge story, because um, he's a dick, he's a douchebag in the first half of the movie. He's focused on one thing. He's not family oriented. He's not trying to spend Christmas, with loved ones. He's just trying to, he's all about his job. He's all about work, and when he loses his kids, it's like a slap. That's like a slap across the face. And when he's being taken to Neverland, and he's like revisiting his roots and everything. And then when he finally is coming to terms with that, and he embraces it, and then he's more full of life, and he's more about his family. And he's more about and he does become family oriented. And I mean, that's just exactly how the same exact patterns of a Christmas Carol, with Scrooge's story and whatnot. And how he's all, yeah, bah humbug, blah 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 blah, and then he meets the Ghost of Christmas Past, and et cetera, and then he's a new man after that. So this is kind of like the same thing when you think about it. And I mean, it is a good story. Like, how would Peter Pan be if he decided not to go back to Neverland, and what kind of life would he live, after that? And this is a good, I guess, kind of sequel to the Peter Pan story in a way, and but but its biggest flaw is the title of the movie. Like, and it should not be called Hook. It should be called Pan, because this would be him revisiting his roots and re-embracing who he was, and that's what he has to do in order to get his family back, and it's a very inspirational movie. When you think about it, where it shows you that don't let don't don't take your loved ones for granted. Don't take your blessings for granted, because they can be taken away from you at any time, and it may be too late to do anything about it. And fortunately, you know that wasn't the case for him. And like when I watched this when I was little, and he was being humiliated on Neverland when he first got there by Hook and by the Lost Boys. I was like, you assholes, leave him alone. But now that I'm older and I see that, I'm just like, yeah, you're a dick. So you had that coming to you. the And I'm gonna get into some deep flaws into Peter Pan's backstory when it's being explained, when he's revisiting, when he's remembering all the way back to when he was a baby. I don't know why he would remember all the way that further back. I figured he would remember just to that point where he's Peter Pan, when he's in Neverland and convincing Winnie to come with him and all blah 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 and etc. But he remembers back to when he was just an orphan, a newborn, well, just a baby, not necessarily a newborn baby, but when Tinkerbell found him after his carriage was rolling off from his mother as they're just chit chatting and all that stuff, and wow, I mean, like, that's very shitty parenting right there. But Tink found him and took him under her wing, and I think, but she took him to Neverland. But how is he growing when you're at Neverland? It's time is meaningless there. When you're there, you stay the same age as when you first arrived there. Now, how is he growing? How is Peter still growing up if he was at Neverland this entire time? That doesn't make sense unless she took him away from Neverland to allow him to grow to a certain age, and then from there on they just stayed there from there on. That's the only logical explanation that I can think of. Otherwise, that is just shitty writing. And also, Tinkerbell becomes in love with Peter. Like, that's fucking creepy. I mean, because she has known him since he was a baby. That's what makes it creepy as fuck. I mean, I get it. She didn't feel that for him right from the jump, but as he got older, she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm developing some affection for this young lad." I mean, when I was little, I was like, I said to myself, if I was Peter Pan, I would say Mora who. I mean, I would jump on Tank as soon as she grows into normal size, and then if she macked on me, I'm like, okay, Tank, okay, let's fly off into the sunset together. Oh yeah, Well, I would just say this now. I mean, I had a massive crush on Tinkerbell when I was little, and that was my introduction to Julia Roberts, and I just thought she was like, I just thought she was gorgeous, and like I said, if I was in Peter's shoes at that time, like when I was a kid, I thought to myself, yeah, I would be all for it. I would be, I'm gonna stay in the Neverland and take a chance with you. But now that I'm older, I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, I mean, like you're the same person who found this boy when he was a baby, and you helped him his entire life pretty much. You basically been his guardian, his entire life, and then you fall in love with him later on, like like when he's a teenager. You are the queen of cougars. You are the queen of cougars. Oh my gosh. And that is creepy as fuck. I mean, think about it. I mean, like, even, in the flashbacks and in the present time, you can tell that she has that selfish desire for him to have him all to herself. Like, when he saw his wife for the very first time when she was a young girl, and I think he decided right then and there that he was not going to go back to Neverland. And when Tank saw that look in his eye when he saw her looking at his wife when he met her for the first time, her heart shattered. And when they're talking about, I have a plan to stop Hook and get my kids back, and she said, when it's all over, you may never come back again. Her heartstrings are being tugged, and I think one of them snapped, like when her heartstrings snapped when she saw him looking at his wife, and they were tugged. It's like that same wound opened back up when she said to him, like, if you when this is all over, you may never come back again. And when she sees him for the very last time of the movie, when he's back at home with his family, and she said, that place where you're asleep or awake or something like that, and where you always remember dreaming. You hear the pain in her voice when she says goodbye to him for one last time, and she declares that she still has that hope, for him to come back, by saying that's where she'll always love him and that's where she'll be waiting. And that's fucking creepy. Oh my gosh. Now I know you're all gonna say that there were countless times in movies and shows where a character has been eternally young, for who's lived maybe at least 80 years or more than that, and then they find someone like a century or 2 centuries later that they fall in love with. I mean, they've done that. I get that, but Tinker Bell has been with Peter since he was a baby, okay, and she has been there for him his entire life. I mean, she's like basically his guardian, like a surrogate mother figure, someone who has looked after him, ever since she took him under her wing. I mean, how can you not think that that's creepy? How can you not think that? I mean, seriously. Let me get off topic here. I love, no matter how many times I watch this movie, I love when Peter and Rufio are ripping on each other at the dinner table. Like, as I get older, the more I watch it, the funnier it gets. Like, when I watched it when I was little, I only laughed when Rufio said something, when he threw a joke at Peter. And even though I wanted Peter to, to roast the fuck out of him. But as I got older, everything they said to each other was funny to me. And it's at that point in the movie where you're starting to root for Peter, and he's starting to get his shit together, and you're like, and then you just want to shove your foot up Rufio's ass, like at that moment when they're eating dinner at the dinner table. And I mean, like, that is like one of the most memorable scenes in the movie for me. And Hook, it seems like he has a strong itch. He has very conflicting emotions where he wants to, like, where he can't live without the fight, without fighting Peter. and at the same time he pushes away that urge, like, okay, I can't live like this anymore, and then he just fights it off, like like how he tried to tell me not to stop him from shooting himself. Don't stop him, don't stop him, don't stop him, stop him. Like, don't try to stop me, don't try to stop me, stop me. You better get up off your ass, get over here, Smee. It's just ridiculous. I guess you've been on Neverland for like God knows how long. I guess for you to live that long, I guess that would be a big adventure. But in this case, for Peter, like, he has something to live for. He has his kids, to live on with. It's a great adventure for him. And this is basically a good story. This is a great story of This is like Peter Pan's Ebenezer Scrooge story, where he's a cold-hearted lawyer and he's all about his career. He's not he's not making time for his family. He's not family oriented, and he goes from that to being where he's all about family now, and that's all he cares about. So, going back to his roots in a way, Hook sort of awakened the kid in Peter, by taking his kids away, and by him going back to Neverland and remembering everything that he'd forgotten, and now he is he is himself again. He is alive again. Now, everyone was great in this movie, but the two actors who stood out the most to me in their performances is Dustin Hoffman and Maggie Smith. Dustin Hoffman, because there is no sign of Dustin Hoffman in this movie. You look at him, you're like, I don't see Dustin Hoffman there. I see Captain Hook. Literally. I don't see Dustin Hoffman anywhere in that movie at all. And Maggie Smith, I love how she portrays the vulnerability of Wendy, and how she's just a warm-hearted, older woman now, and I just can't think of anything else, how a better way to put it. She is a very warm-hearted woman, like how Wendy has always been, and then the way she portrays her vulnerability is ridiculous, because you see her in the Harry Potter movies and she's a completely different person. I'm like, what? What? You mean how you were you mean her walking on the cane and all that, and how you looked in that movie? That was all just an act. That was just a different look that you put on to be Wendy? Wow. That is a great, superb performance right there. Shit! And another flaw that this movie had is that the Lost Boys stayed on Neverland. But do you remember in every other incarnation, in the Peter Pan story, they decide to stay, they decide to leave Neverland, and then they all come back to Wendy's home, and then her family and everybody, they take all the Lost Boys in, and then Peter Pan and Tinkerbell are the only ones who go back to Neverland. You remember that? They did that in the cartoon, and they did that in the 2003 movie, if I'm not mistaken. And you're thinking, okay, didn't you guys go back to? Maybe there were more Lost Boys there, and then just half of them went on to, went on to, to allow themselves to grow up, just to grow up and whatnot. But this movie was basically the happy ending that Peter Pan deserved, even though he grew up to be a bit of an asshole, and he forgot who he was, and yeah. This movie was fantastic. It should not be called Hook. I'm sorry. Disagree if you will, but don't be an asshole about it. But it should not be called Hook. It should be called Pan. And it's centered around Peter the entire time. Hook Hook plays a big part in the, plays a good role in the movie, but it is not centered around him. I mean, like, why would you have it called Hook when it's centered around Peter? I mean, it should be called Pan. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, I love this moment when one of the pirates is getting ready to fight Peter Pan. And then he quickly finds out who he is, and it goes like this.
Wait a minute, ain't you?
Peter Pan. I never get that. The moments like that never ceases to tickle me. I mean, the movie as a whole just tickles me, and it fills my heart with joy, and it makes me feel some type of emotion. Like, I mean, it's a great family movie, and it deserves an 8.5 out of 1 to 10. I know some of you may disagree, like, by what I said about the movie title. You might say, no, I mean, Hook was was much better fitted, much more fitting for the movie. Yeah, but I mean, if that's how you feel, I mean, that's totally fine, But don't be a pansy ass about it, and don't give me any shit about about my opinions. Those are just my opinions. I just felt like I just wanted to share with you guys. So, and some flaws that I pointed out, you may not agree with that too. I mean, I'm fully aware that not a lot of you are going to agree with what I felt were the flaws of the movie. But it's a great movie overall. It's a fantastic movie. And it's a great, Christmas movie. It's set in Christmas, and that's why I felt, hey, I guess this will be a good Christmas movie to put out there to review. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, I suggest you do it. I'm sure almost all of you have seen it by now. It's like one of those movies that where like almost everybody has seen. And it's definitely worth watching, and it definitely makes me feel like I'm 9 years old again when I watch it every time. And I think I may watch it again after I get done editing this video. Now, if you enjoyed my review, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you click subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a safe holiday. Peace out, y'all.